share a genuine personal story with you. I was 25 when I started Yo China. At 27, we raised about 100 crores through private equity. And at 29, I went nearly bankrupt. And it was every mistake in the book, everything. I don't think anything prepares you for going through these mistakes. So the typical Indian response was first to rush to an astrologer and then figure out, okay, boss, should I jump ship or should I carry on? But frankly, the key is that character and integrity matters a lot, right? So going bankrupt or losing money in business or failing, in the US they encourage it. They say, listen, do it fast so that you can get over that curve, because unless you have failed, you're not going to be a seasoned entrepreneur. But the only thing that will keep you going at that moment is integrity, because you need the ecosystem to support you. So your ecosystem, be it your suppliers, because there will be a time when you won't be able to pay your suppliers. There will be a time when you can't afford rentals, or your promised payments are running late. And as long as your heart is in the right place and you haven't cheated people, you will need their support, right? So that is, I think, very important. The second thing is, ego has to be in check, and pivoting is very important. So you failed, like when we looked at our model, we pivoted from budget to experience because we saw that the store formats in brick and mortar retail, you couldn't sweat the asset or the store with a budget format, and luckily for us, maybe that call was in hindsight great, because imagine if you had a chain of Yo Chinas today, and the way Zomato and Swiggy do delivery, half the revenue would have been takeaway delivery sales, and the dine-in stores would have really suffered. So in hindsight, failing fast was very, very good, because you can't take away the experience of going to a wine company or a Whisky Samba. You can't get it at home, right? Or an Antares or any of these places. You can't get it at home through delivery. So that pivoting helped a lot. But it's, take this, the failures as lightly as you take success, because both are going to come. There's a beautiful poem that my mom gave me when I was growing up. She had no clue I'd be an entrepreneur. She was an English teacher, so she gave me her favorite poem, which ended up becoming my favorite poem, which was Rudyard Kipling's If. And in that poem, it clearly says that treat triumph and disaster as imposters, because both of them are two sides of a coin. Both will come, both will go, and aap apni dhun mein chalte raho. There's no other way. I think, the awards have nothing to do with the guest experience. The guest experience is meal by meal, and that's the key. I think the key to delivering innovation is you can't, think of two hands of a clock, both at 12. If one hand is 5 minutes back, you're losing the plot. If you are 30 minutes ahead, you're too far ahead. So how do you time it to be 10 to 15 minutes ahead of the curve, where you know that there's a market for it, right? Because as entrepreneurs, it's too expensive to become educators. You can be innovators, but becoming educators is very, very difficult. So you have to pick categories. There's genuine education. You're not going out and educating. Like if you look at even Blue Tokai, luckily a lot of the education on coffee had been done by Barista and Cafe Day. Otherwise, an earlier generation didn't know what an espresso was, right? So I think that the key is emotional delight. In a restaurant, your food is never necessarily going to be as good as the food at home. So you go there for the package of experiences, and as long as you can touch all the experiences, so we're not in the or business, we're in the and business. You have to do this and this and this and this. All of that is important. like I mentioned, that everyone's grandfather, father, everyone's in the family had some elder who's had whiskey. We wanted to make whiskey young. We wanted to, we wanted the world of whiskeys to surprise you. We wanted you to be adventurous with whiskeys. If you've never had a Taiwanese whiskey, if you've never had a whiskey from Ireland. So Samba connotes adventure, connotes fun, connotes that whole travel feel, and it makes it younger. So I often say that 18 is the new 12 in whiskey, right? So that's the reason that we came up with the name Samba. But in Hyderabad they thought it's Sambar. So when I opened there, they thought it's Whisky Samba. So initially the lineups were for different reasons. Because hiring the right talent, and even hiring, you have to keep things really simple. Like in the restaurant business, for example, you need somebody who smiles, because that's something you can't teach. You can teach everything else. So I think you need to really simplify skills, and you need constant training. And then there's no better teacher than on the floor a culture that really everyone in the organization is talking about. And I think you need to build spaces where you're having fun. As employees, as teams, you also need to enjoy what you're doing. It needs to be meaningful. You need to see the effect of what you're doing. So it's a very, very important thing. I think it's great that you're thinking about it, at a very nascent stage, because culture can't suddenly come up. There'll be elements of culture that'll keep getting built, but basic culture elements are from day one.